Talk about conservation of energy and heat transfer. So you should be able to define the law of conservation of energy and apply it to chemical reactions, be able to describe three processes of heat transfer: conduction, convection, and radiation by the time we're done today. So the law of conservation of energy is this: energy cannot be created or destroyed, but can change form. It is conserved. Chemical energy can be converted to kinetic energy in rockets or bottle rockets, one of my favorites. So bottle rockets are a wobble stabilized rocket because of the stick and the off-centeredness. You can actually see it kind of spiraling and swirling. Anyway, I just think this is a really cool picture. Roller coaster example. So this is the typical physics example. It says that as a roller coaster goes through its path, it goes up and down. What happens to the total energy of the system? It's created but not destroyed. Not created or destroyed, it's converted, not created. So when you start high, you have high potential energy. As you go down the slope, you have high kinetic energy, and then high potential energy, high kinetic energy, high potential energy, high kinetic energy, high potential energy, high kinetic energy. Anyway, you understand. Eventually you stop. And that's because your kinetic energy gets converted to heat energy because of friction. So heat transfer, heat energy can move in three ways: conduction, convection, and radiation. So conduction is the transfer of energy between objects that are in physical contact. So heat moving up an iron rod that's stuck in a fire and then into your hand, all of that is conduction because it's through contact. There is also convection, which is the transfer of energy between an object and its environment due to fluid motion. So this is why the temperature in a pot that you put on the stove tends to remain relatively constant throughout. It can be a little bit different, but if it's just water, it tends to circulate itself and swirl, and you get transfer through fluid motion. Most air movement, weather, and things are related to convection currents. So radiation is the transfer of energy to or from a body by means of the emission or absorption of electromagnetic radiation. So this is why the Earth gets warmed by the sun. This is why you get warmed by the sun. This is why I go extra crispy in the sun. This is why these lights around me are warming me. It is through radiation. So you can get all of them happening at once. So from a campfire, you get convection currents of heat going over it. You get conduction for anything that touches the fire, and radiation when you're beside the fire.